Hello and welcome. I'm Ian Unger.
And I'm Logan Flaming.
And together we host the Ultimate Fan Podcast, the show where the greatest fans discuss the greatest in entertainment across the universe. Today we're talking about, we're continuing our MCU review. That's Marvel Cinematic Universe for anyone out there who's unfamiliar. And we're moving right on ahead. Last week we discussed Incredible Hulk. It was a little bit of a slugfest, no pun intended.
I wouldn't call it a slugfest. It was just a bit of a droll.
Yes, a bit of a. It was a.
It was something.
I'm trying to come up with a Hulk pun, but I can't. A slugfest is probably as close as I can.
I want to say it was a smashingly good time, but it wasn't. It was not that.
You were there a half second before me. This week, though, I think we're both a lot more optimistic. It's Iron Man 2. That's the next movie chronologically in the MCU.
And I don't know about you, but I had a blast watching this movie.
Yeah.
So much fun.
I think I've only seen this movie all the way through once, but prior to this, probably in theaters, and maybe parts of it other places. But
that would make it 8 years ago for you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's been a long time. I didn't remember
You could have got your master's, your doctorate.
No,
your master's. No, your bachelor's, your master's, and your doctorate by the time you've seen. No? Bachelor's 4 years.
How do you think doctorates work?
Aren't they 2?
Yeah.
Then master's is 2 years.
It depends on the program. It depends on...
Well, that one fell apart.
Logan's like, I don't care about college.
I already graduated. I'm done. I've served my time.
Yeah. I was actually just talking with somebody the other day about how long master's programs are, because they were talking about a 4-year program, and the one I'm looking at is 2, and I was like, what? You want to spend 4 years?
No. Unless you're going to be like a dentist or a doctor and make oodles of money, it's not worth.
Yeah. Sorry if we're offending you, because
you can make whatever life choices
your master's
you want. Pursue knowledge and debt. It's up to you.
Yeah. Hopefully you're doing very well, better than us. But yeah, we're talking about Iron Man 2. Came out in 2010. Director's Jon Favreau. It's a pretty direct sequel to the first. Actually,
6 months after, right?
Oh, time wise?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that?
I think that's like when the prologue, I think, happens as Tony's revealing himself.
Yeah, that's right. So that's what I was gonna comment on
at the end of Iron Man 1, and then I think there's a 6 months later jump to Stark Expo.
That's right. It does say 6 months later.
That's what I remember.
But the prologue of like the guy of Ivan
Van Gogh.
Yeah.
I want my blood.
What's it? Mickey Rourke? Is that the
Mickey the Rourke? Yes.
Mickey the Rourke. His little scene at the beginning. I'm not sure that's set. Oh no, because he's watching it on TV.
Yes, and his daddy's dying.
That's right.
And then he starts welding things, because that's what you do in an Iron Man movie.
Yeah.
You weld things. It's not an Iron Man movie unless you're welding things. It's a welding montage.
But he watches it on TV, and then there's a welding montage, but then we see newspaper clippings. So I don't know, like...
I'm a little fuzzy.
Are you?
Yeah, on the prologue thing.
Yeah.
Because, there's look at... Iron Man is stable East-West...
That's
relations.
what I'm saying, yeah.
But here's what I'm thinking. I think the prologue happens right at the end of Iron Man 1. But then you're seeing a longer time where he's building the whips and stuff.
Yes.
And that I think is taking place over
time.
An unset amount of time.
Yeah. I don't think it's years, but I definitely think at least a year, I could imagine.
No, it's 6 months.
No, but I mean, I think I could imagine from the end of Iron Man to where the story really takes off in Iron Man 2, to the Expo. I could imagine.
But it's 6 months though, because
it's 6 months. Yeah, but you're saying that indeterminate amount of time of the welding montage.
Yeah, well, I think the 6 months signifies where that welding montage starts, because you're seeing it live on screen as Tony reveals himself as Iron Man to the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you think the movie takes place
6 months after the end of Iron Man 1.
Okay.
But the welding montage takes place over
during those 6 months.
During those 6 months.
Sure.
Give or take.
Also
does not matter.
Also during those 6 months, Mickey Rourke somehow mysteriously gets a black market ticket to the Grand Prix.
Yeah. And how does he know that Tony's going to be at the Grand Prix? No one knows.
No one knows.
Why does he think to start attacking cars? Because he knew that Tony was going to be in one of those cars, which he wasn't going to be until like 5 minutes before the race. Who knows?
My biggest problem with this whole movie.
We'll get to the problems, but I have a bigger problem.
It really is, though, such a direct sequel in that, like, it does kind of that movie trope thing. But I like, in this instance, of a movie like how they have, like, the audio from the last scene of the first movie playing over, like, the Marvel Studios logos. Russian. Yeah, it's... but like with the dubbed Russian underneath it, and it's kind of cool to like hear that, and it in the theater it immediately takes you back to like, oh yeah, that's how like the last movie ended. Yeah, and then
it's like reading the front, the catch-up page at the front of a comic.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you remember anything about your first viewing experience with this?
What'd you say?
Do you remember anything about your first viewing?
No, I watched it at home. Had a good time.
Because did you watch Captain America before this?
Yeah. Well, no, I watched Captain America after this.
Oh, okay.
I was all MCU caught up before Captain America.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you said Captain America was... Oh,
it was my first one in theaters. Yes.
Okay. Also, I had another question.
I was all MCU caught up except for Thor. I saw Thor like while I was on a hunting trip in October, whereas Captain America came out in July.
Oh.
That year.
Yeah.
These are the kind of random details I remember in my brain.
Apart from the Phil Coulson stuff, Thor's I think like it's detached enough from like I think Captain America is more attached to this movie, to Iron Man 2 than like,
both of those movies feel more in the universe.
Yeah.
But also don't forget Hawkeye is in Thor as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets about...
I forgot about that.
Hawk Bro
being
in there.
I remember loving that. I remember like seeing that and being like, it's Hawkeye. And then my brother's being like, it's not Hawkeye. I mean, yeah, it's wait. And then he like reaches for the bow and I was like...
Yeah, that's such a great moment.
That's totally Hawkeye.
Not as cool. Not the best part of that sequence, though. Thor's muscles when he's trying to lift up.
When he's trying to lift up the hammer.
Lift up Mjolnir.
And when he faces off, he like beats all the guards except this one just hulking black guy.
Yeah.
And he just like, they just tussle in the mud. And he like ends by elbowing him. That's
probably the most satisfying action sequence in that movie. No joke.
In all the Marvel movies.
No. Okay.
I did have a question on the Hawkeye segment. Did you know before you watched this movie that Scarlett Johansson was going to be Black Widow?
No, I didn't even. When I watched this, I didn't know Black Widow was even a character or like who she was like before until after I looked it up. After
That's
this
right.
movie.
Because I forgot.
Then I became a huge Black Widow fan, and I love Black Widow.
So, like listeners, I'm just since we've been doing this MCU review, because I've known Logan for a number of years now, and ever since I've known Logan. We've only been talking about superheroes and comic books and Star Wars and
nothing else exclusively.
Yeah.
Don't bring the real life into my nerd life. Keep it separate. Separation of church and state.
We don't. Logan and I don't actually know how to talk about anything else. Yeah. That's why that's why we started this podcast.
What's your wife's name? I don't know.
But like, so it's kind of. So for you, like, I don't think I've told you this, but it kind of when it came out that you hadn't I don't remember which we were seeing Iron Man. I don't know, and you said that you hadn't seen an MCU movie until like in theaters until Captain America, and that you didn't read comics until you watched
First Avenger.
Yeah,
I got my first comic,
Captain America.
I got my first comic that Christmas.
Yeah, I didn't realize because for me
it was an X-Men. It was 2 issues of X-Men.
And how old were you?
That would have been, let's see, 2011. I was born in 96. What's the math? I'm not good at
math. So you would have been like 15.
15, yeah.
Yeah, that was like...
No, I was younger than that, I think.
You think that's the year before you came to college?
Yeah.
Also, Logan is a genius. He came to college
I didn't know. I just got stuff done early. That doesn't make me a genius. That's all that is.
Wow. But so because Captain America was before Avengers.
Yeah, but when I got into it, I boned up hard.
And Avengers came, yeah?
Yeah.
and Avengers came out in 2012. But yeah, that's kind of how I was too. I kind of slowly came into comics, but when like Iron Man started coming out and those other films after it, then I was like, I kind of switched gears and almost exclusively read comics for like a year or two. I just stopped reading other books unless it was for school.
Well, yeah, because it was Avengers and Dark Knight Rises coming out that year.
Yeah.
So I was high on like Marvel, and then Batman.
Because you like
I got into all the best Batman stories.
Yeah. Did you like the movies?
Oh yeah, I'd watch Dark Knight, and I was like, I am a lifelong Batman fan now.
And you're always into Star Wars.
Yeah,
you just like
that never stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so interesting for me because, like, I guess I just always assumed that you were
from the womb.
Yeah, but like, I wasn't even from the womb. I didn't start reading comics till I was like 12. Mm-hmm. But I'm curious about like what the average kid. Well, I'd say the average kid who reads comics. It depends also on
like what era you grew up in.
Yeah,
we don't have spinner racks anymore.
What are those? Spinner racks.
Yeah,
okay.
Like the old school, like
that
you watch
like
in a grocery
alien
store.
Race.
There's like a bunch of different comics on like a rack, and it's spun.
Yeah,
and you went and picked out your comic.
Can we make a comic now? Can we eventually get enough money, produce a comic, and have
on a spinner rack?
The primary yes, but the primary like alien villains will be called the spinner racks.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. Yeah? That's a good idea. Hear that, listeners? Don't steal that.
Yeah, copy something.
Yeah.
Well, back to the movie, which we like.
It's a bunch of fun. Also, if you haven't figured it out by now, Ian and I are riding Maverick and Goose tonight. Just the two of us.
Oh, yes.
It's just
no guess.
Just the two of us.
Yeah.
We're just R2 and Luke. Poe and BB-8.
Who is who?
Yeah.
Who's who?
Luke and Dak.
I have glasses.
Wedge and Wes Jansen.
Am I Maverick?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, probably.
You know, I haven't seen Top Gun since I was like 9.
Really?
Yeah. I watched Top Gun in my grandma's attic with her. They had like a family room in their attic, and we watched Top Gun, and he said the word bastards, and I copied him when I was playing with toys, and my grandma she's the one who showed me the movie, and then she's like, Ian, don't say that.
That's awesome. Yeah. Shout out to my little brother Jason. He watches Top Gun literally once a month. And he always sends me literally nothing but Top Gun like GIFs.
I don't know if I could watch a movie that often.
He loves it.
I love movies, but there's like a lot of them I love, but
I could do that with Revenge of the Sith. Easy. I did do that with Revenge of the Sith.
So Logan and we'll probably get to this much later in our podcast, but Logan and I are both fans of Revenge of the Sith. But I'll say right now, there's too much with that movie that like I think even 2 viewings in a row, like the second viewing, I would have a really hard time not just being like, no.
I could defend almost every one of those moments. Let's talk about Iron Man 2.
Yeah, Iron Man 2. Arguably better movie.
Then what?
Revenge of the Sith.
No, you're wrong. Continue.
So, short general thoughts? Anything?
I love it. It's a good time.
Happy's great in this movie. I loved Jon Favreau getting in.
Let's start from the beginning. How do we feel about the prologue?
Oh, you want to like take the movie part chronologically?
Yeah, let's just start working our way through it.
Okay, sure. We'll get right into that. So I like it. I thought this movie wasn't going to be.
Do you like it more than you remembered it?
Yeah, way more.
Same.
It's not that I had bad memories of it. Mm-hmm. Maybe Iron Man 3 put a bad taste in my mouth. I think I just remember it not wowing me enough to, or maybe what it was is that movies just kept coming out. More Marvel movies just kept coming, and
they won't stop coming, and they won't stop coming.
Yeah, I never felt the need to go back and revisit this because there was always a new one coming out.
It's more like,
and the ones I did want to revisit were the ones that everybody was wanting to watch, like Avengers.
It's like when you're in the middle of like a really good comic book run, and you're like the second or third graphic novel in. It's not your favorite one, but it's still progressing the story in an entertaining fashion. But it's not the one you go and like pick up to like, man, I want to read an Iron Man story. You don't usually go pick up that second or third issue in the run.
Yeah. But it's a great issue.
Also, that analogy is only going to appeal to the people who listen to comics, which is probably only 20% at best of the show.
Yeah. I'm down with the whole tone of the film. And I think
let's go back to the prologue. How do we feel about the prologue?
Well, that's what I'm saying. From the bat, like I said with the prologue, with that little like the dubbed like dialogue from the first movie and all that stuff. I love how it sounds, and I love the tone it sets. I may get shot down for this, and we can kind of go back and forth on this, but I like Whiplash. I'd say, okay, if it's a teeter-totter, and the scales are going back and forth, I end up on the side where I like him as a villain. I think he fits in that line of MCU villains that are forgettable and just like maybe poor. I wouldn't even call him poorly motivated.
He's just boring.
I think
that's honestly what it is.
Yeah, I think how he's written is a little boring. But
he's definitely a step down from Obadiah Stane.
Oh, I think he's a step up.
Really? From Obadiah? Like, I would agree from an action standpoint.
Actually, you know what? I'll take that back. Not
just think of all those Ivan Vanko scenes. Compare it to all the Obadiah Stane scenes from Iron Man 1. Which one do you think is more memorable? And entertaining.
Obadiah is more memorable
and entertaining.
Admittedly, I've watched Iron Man more, and like
there's no Whiplash scene that like measures up to.
I like Jeff Bridges.
Than when like Obadiah Stane's taking the palladium core out of Tony's chest.
That is that cell block scene. I'm down with that.
It's cool, but it's still
He feel even in the whole movie.
Compare that to Joker and Batman.
Yes,
like hanging out.
I know. You're right. So I'll say this: like coming to the climax, he doesn't feel like the villain, like the ultimate villain. He doesn't feel like the guy, even though he is literally the one pulling the strings. He doesn't feel like this evil mastermind that I meant.
I have whips.
Yeah.
Is he better than Ultron?
No.
I don't know. We'll save that for another day.
I just mean that I think he had potential.
Mm-hmm. I think the movie's a little bit split between just screen time wise between Justin Hammer and between Whiplash.
Yes, I think that was it.
I don't think either one of them is that really great or that interesting. So the movie's just kind of doesn't have much of an identity.
Yeah.
In the villain department.
Here's what I'll say: Justin Hammer is funny. He's played by Sam Rockwell. He's really hilarious. And I think he does a good job in this. I think they both do a good job. But I think they're boring because of that split of attention and screen time. I think like Hammer could just be a corporation, and you can just see how they're tied in with the senator who's going to tie in. Also, he's a goofball,
so like having a goofball as your main villain is not going to give much stakes either.
And we see at the end he gets arrested by the cops, but he's not the main. He's being used and he's not
like an evil guy.
No,
he just lets his character flaws get the best of him.
Yeah, he's your stereotypical like corporate America.
But he's way more interesting because he's being played by Sam Rockwell.
Yes,
and he's having a great time.
And you can tell he's a dumb American, but he's really funny. He's like, I don't speak Russian. Here's all my guns. Oh, you don't like that one? I'll sell you a better gun. I like this one. This one's called the ex-wife.
So the armory Justin Hammer moment also, where he's like showing everything to the military, that's my favorite Justin Hammer scene.
Yes, I was going to say
it's the most entertaining, and the most memorable. His Sam Rockwell's performance though teeters between like funny and annoying the whole movie.
But I think that's a point. I think that's what he was going for.
It is, but it's just, is that really the best thing to see in an Iron Man sequel?
So here's what I'd say: fix this movie, make it 10 out of 10. Minimize Sam Rockwell's character.
I think you go back to the drawing board and you rewrite the movie, honestly.
Oh, you don't like it that much?
Well, I just like if we were gonna make like an excellent, awesome Iron Man sequel, I don't think you use Whiplash. I don't think you use Justin Hammer. I think you take it in a different direction.
Like what?
I don't know.
Set up Mandarin more?
Or just do a villain.
10 rings?
Well, just look at your villains. Like, look at the stakes of Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, Winter Soldier has a direct tie to the first movie, so maybe something like that, like 10 Rings.
yeah, I just don't think Whiplash. I think at their core, Whiplash, Evan Vanko, and Justin Hammer are not that compelling villains. And I think the movie's structured around them, and I think it's the best movie you could do with those villains. But there's not much meat on the bones there to work with.
Here's what I'll say. I think there is meat on the bones. I think the problem is the split screen time. Because of that scene.
But Mickey the Rourke's performance for me is not that interesting. Giving him more screen time is just going to have him more time being brooding. Talking in broken Russian and crying about his bird.
So maybe you cast somebody different. I don't care. What I'll say is that character, I think there was potential for that to be a compelling villain. To be somebody who we like we like Killmonger, right? Do you agree with that? You like Killmonger?
Killmonger's awesome.
I think Whiplash could have been it's a similar storyline, right?
Yeah.
Our fathers worked together like on the same project, and your father like screwed over
my father. In one it was more extreme, and the other one it was justified, and it's a matter of perspective.
Yeah,
it's a matter of perspective for both, but I see the interest. Like they're treading on the same dramatic ground.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll weave in and out of this.
Mm-hmm.
I like the whole tone of the movie. I love the AC/DC as he's coming in hot to the expo.
Yeah, both Shoot to Thrill and Highway to Hell at the end of the movie are both awesome. And I love that they bring Shoot to Thrill back in Avengers when Tony lands in Germany to take on Loki.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right.
That. Yeah.
I love that. It's like his intro. You know he plays that. I love because they almost set it up as like a combat thing. Like we think Iron Man's jumping into combat, but then did
he grab a parachute? No, I don't think he did.
So baller.
Yeah. That's Winter Soldier. In case you're listening.
Yeah.
Or wondering. So I think my favorite like Tony Stark being wacky, crazy Tony Stark in this movie. I think that my favorite like example of that is the Senate hearing scene. When they're hanging out with Senator Stearns.
Yeah, he's pretty Tony Stark there.
He's just going off, and I love that scene.
There was another scene.
The energy is great in the edit, flowing from like Stark Expo right into that.
I think him eating the donut in the donut ring.
Ooh,
that's pretty iconic.
That's on my two favorite scenes in the movie. Is the whole Randy's Donuts sequence, him hanging out with like Nick Fury and Black Widow for the first time. I love all that stuff. It's just great seeing like Sam Jackson being Nick Fury, seeing Black Widow and Tony and Nick Fury all together for the first time is awesome. And it's like, oh frick, we're building a universe here.
And building relationships.
Yeah, totally.
It's like crazy watching like current movies and looking back and realizing like the first.
This is where it started.
Yeah,
that's
the first
crazy.
connection we had was like Natasha, Nick Fury, and like Tony.
And now look at like Natasha's relationship with Tony in Civil War.
Also,
like, they're peers now.
You know what this just made me think of? That is going to be like incredible if they can pull it off well from like a writing and acting standpoint. Mm-hmm. We have Captain Marvel film coming out, and for our listeners, if you're unfamiliar, Captain Marvel is a female superhero who
her name's Carol Danvers.
Yeah, she has her alter ego is kind of like an Air Force pilot.
Kind of like Green Lantern.
Yeah, a little bit of
has
Marvel's
cosmic
Green
connections
Lantern.
like Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Gets powers from an outside alien that crash lands on the planet like Green Lantern.
Well, in some iterations. Yeah. But so in this film, we don't know it looks like the film is going for the alien route. It's set in the 90s, which is so prior to the stories of Iron Man and Thor, Incredible Hulk, etc. These movies that we're currently watching. And I think it would be really interesting, depending on how that movie goes, if she develops so we know Nick Fury is in that movie. If like a good relationship develops there, and then she appears in current Marvel films post.
She is confirmed for Avengers 4.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So, like, for me, what I would love to see is kind of.
Also, we're getting Skrulls in Captain Marvel as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I'm so stoked.
You're telling everybody else. Yeah. But I would love to see how are they going to I want a moment where Tony and like everybody else who thinks they're real buddy with Nick Fury, and maybe even like Natasha or some, like Captain Marvel comes in and they're all like, "Whoa, she's new. Like you're new to the group." And Nick Fury's like, "Actually, we go way back. Like we're friends." And like to see them have like almost like an established rapport before she joins. You know, rather than just like she's the new kid on the block, it's more like.
And that kind of speaks to my third favorite scene in Iron Man 2, which is Tony watching the footage of Howard on the old, like, where he's talking about the Stark Expo, and then like he's like,
I think
like,
that's
he's speaking like straight to Tony.
Yeah,
that's my just getting to like slow down with the movie and just hang out with Tony, just chilling.
Yeah.
And
that's
like,
one of my favorite
covering
Tony
the
scenes.
history of the MCU is like it's awesome.
Yeah,
and I love it. And that scene like hit me way harder on this viewing in a post Civil War universe.
Yes,
where like
especially with the same
we know
actor.
where Bucky, like what Bucky did to the Starks, and how much like Tony really does care about his parents.
Yeah,
and just seeing that and knowing the tragedy that it eventually unfolds was really moving, and I really liked that scene a lot.
Yeah, I think it's incredible because we have the same. I just love like the nostalgia. He's in that same garage where he does all this tech stuff, but he just has this box of just like old analog things and papers
with Captain America, like a weird thing of Captain America's shield in it, which I think it's really cool that Coulson grabs that and holds it, knowing like how much of a Captain America fanboy he is in Avengers. Like, he helped design the Cap suit, and that's kind of why Cap suit in Avengers looks a little dorky, because, Agent Phil designed it.
Yeah. I almost wonder, like, if they're actively looking for him, or if Coulson just, like, why... Is it just because he's a Captain America fan that he seems so, like, on edge when he's like, where did you get this?
Yeah, you know what this is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just his fanboy showing.
This is ultra rare, second edition, super collectible, platinum.
You want to talk about Rhodey?
I want to keep talking about Tony. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I think we'll save the Rhodes and the Haps for later, and the Nats and the Peps and the Whips.
Speaking of Peps, I love there's one scene where like Natasha and Pepper are hanging out together, and Pepper has a Dr. Pepper sitting on the counter.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, that's fun. I never noticed that before. Quite cheeky.
Also, I just thought to myself, I would love like a GIF of Whiplash, maybe in the Grand Prix scene or something, where he's saying, "Now watch me whip, now watch me nay." I just think we can fit that in somewhere. I'll be thinking of it. Stark seems right from the beginning, right when he lands at the expo, he gets out of the suit. He is more cocky in this film than in Iron Man 1.
Right. He's a lot to be cocky about.
Yeah.
Like he's been busy in the last 6 months. He's done a lot for foreign relations.
Yeah.
So it makes it, he's still like mission minded, he's still thinking about legacy, and he's still driven by guilt. But he's a little high on himself. Yeah,
there's this, which I never noticed before. There's this news article pinned up in like Whiplash's montage as he's building his suit at the beginning of the film. It's just a headline that says Iron Man
stabilizes East-West relations.
Yeah, East-West relations. That's a huge headline, like a huge claim, especially for that era. Which, you know what, I didn't... Maybe this is reading too into it, but later on when they're in his garage, he picks up a poster, like a sign, and it's Iron Man, but in the Obama campaign theme. And like that was kind of one of Obama's big things at the time in his 2008 campaign was like, I'm going to stabilize, like we're going to pull our troops out, we're going to like stabilize relations here.
He killed Bin Laden.
Yeah.
You got that done.
But like, to say like it's Iron Man. Oh, MCU confirmed. Cool. Iron Man killed Bin Laden.
Yeah. That's Iron Man 1.5.
Yeah.
That happened in month 5 of in between the Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2.
But like he shows up there, and the rest of it. So what I kind of wrote down as I was watching, I think he believes he's the guardian of America. Like like it's you see it there in his Dancing Girls, which I thought
He's the Captain of America.
Yeah, I think it's actually a really funny kind of like Captain America kind of gives a call out
It's
to
kind
that.
of Captain American-esque, like
Because
with all the dancers
he has
in
all the
Captain America
dancers,
1.
line up.
Yeah.
And there's literally like an American flag in the background
Yeah.
of his like performance.
I
I
love
thought it
it.
was a little cheesy, but
It's rock and roll. You gotta ham it up.
Yeah,
There's
and I
fire.
think
It's loud. You got girls.
the whole
how
courtroom
it is.
scene though is like kind of so immediately after his expo, we move to like
He gets served the
this
subpoena.
yeah, he gets served there.
and
That's
then
right.
he and Happy go on a road trip to go to New York go to Washington D.C. from New York the next morning.
Yeah.
So I was like, huh? They drove all the way down.
Also,
That's
do
fun.
you know anything about like the whole like I don't like being handed things?
I think this is the first start of that.
Does it come up in
Well,
the
they
third
bring it
one?
back in Avengers.
They do?
Yes. Remember when Coulson comes over to Stark Tower to hand over like all the Avengers like stuff, and Tony's like, I don't like being handed things, and then Pepper's like, yeah, well, I love being handed things, so let's trade.
That's right.
And she gives the wine glass to Coulson. She takes like the bookcase, the briefcase, and then gives it to Tony. And Tony throws it up on the screen.
Is that like a thing from like the comics, or is it just
I
is
don't
it
know.
like an inside
I think
joke?
it's just like a
or-
running gag. Honestly, it's like a running bit.
Okay.
I don't think
yeah,
it has any comic book origin that I know of.
I was just
If
kind
not,
of
send me an email at ultimatefanpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, if you know something, comment please. I just
we will
kinda,
gladly respond to whatever comment you post on any of our social medias or in our email.
yeah. I guess maybe I'm just reading too into it. I don't know. But so moving ahead to the courtroom scene, which is such a blatant contrast to Civil War, like.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, where Iron Man he's literally like this national vigilante. He believes he says stuff like the suit is my own, it's my property.
he does not believe in oversight at all.
Yeah. And he says like he doesn't want to share it with anyone. It's
the actions of the Avengers that eventually convince him of the need for oversight,
Yeah.
and like his creation of Ultron.
Yeah. But it's just so funny to see like that progression because here
Yeah, it's crazy.
people are telling him to like rein it in and give it over to the public and he's like no, like I'm not I think part of it is his ego, is that he does see himself as like the guardian of America, and that like he stands up at the end of the hearing and he says, I have successfully privatized world peace. Like that's
And
such
then he
a-
throws up like the
Yeah,
peace,
his little
signs,
peace signs.
which is such like a cool callback to Iron Man
yeah,
1.
when he was like,
Like
doing his
peace, I love
presentation.
peace, and
Yeah.
then like no, he's like doing he does like the fingers up,
Yeah.
the peace signs when he's showing off the Jericho missile.
Yeah.
which I thought that was a cool callback to Iron Man 1 that I
Yeah.
really enjoyed.
And he's all about like he says it's my you can't have it, but I am your he says I am your nuclear deterrent, so you're welcome. Like he's so full of it, and he like believes he has like single-handedly saved America, and like that nobody else. Also, I thought Stern was just kind of like I didn't realize
really enjoy him. He's awesome.
He's hilarious.
He's so
The
much
whole
fun.
thing at the end with the medals was a good little kind
Funny
of like
how
punishment
how
for
much
him.
a little prick can hurt.
Yeah,
And then bringing him back for Winter Soldier, and making him Hydra,
like
is
actually a villain,
a stroke of brilliance,
which
and I
makes you
love it.
realize like why he wants the Iron Man tech for the military
Totally.
so bad. I thought,
Because
yeah.
Hail Hydra.
Also, but just from like an argumentative standpoint, he's like attacking Iron Man as a weapon that's loose in the public, and like demanding that he turn it over to the government so the government can use it as a weapon. Like he just really wants it. But anyways,
Because Hydra.
yeah. So that was but I still see Tony's development in this film being more stuff like his relationship with his dad that we see develop over to that, and like kind of I think like his faith in himself as a human being, the sins of his father. I think that whole scene you're talking about, not just in light of his father's death in Civil War, but that bit at the beginning where he's like reliving the moment, his last moments with his parents.
I love that scene in Civil War.
Yeah, I think that's influenced by this scene where he like where he watches that from his dad, and he hears his dad
This movie
say,
lays the groundwork for his relationship with his parents
to be renewed and to be like, even though they're not like here anymore, he wants, instead of just writing them off, especially his dad, he like acknowledges that that's something he needs to deal with.
And it's so cool getting to see Howard Stark in First Avenger.
Yeah.
Get to know him more, as well as the Agent Carter TV show.
Yeah. I'm happy to see him. So Civil War, they die in 1992, right?
So mission report, December
16th?
16th? I don't know.
Yeah.
1992.
Yeah.
Mission report.
December 16th.
I love it.
I really like Baron Zemo.
I love Baron Zemo.
Also not a Baron.
Yep.
My name is Zemo.
My name is Zemo.
What do you think
I love
of Tony?
Daniel Brühl.
Do you think he
What are we talking about?
I think his greatest progression's Tony. Is his relationship with Pepper and his stuff with his parents.
He gets to smack a schmack at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Get a roof. Get another roof.
Also, their first kiss.
Yeah. And I love how they held it off for 2 movies. I love Tony Pepper, awesome. One of my favorite MCU couples usually. And I really miss them, like, post-Avengers, not seeing them till, like, the end of Homecoming. And then when we got Pepper back at the end of Homecoming, like, I was so happy. Like, I'd really missed them. And I felt really nostalgic. Happy has some great moments in this.
Happy. So Jon Favreau usually is in a lot of his films. Most of his films. And I love that he took a bigger role in this than in the first one. The whole boxing scene is hilarious. His little fight scene with Natasha at the end is funny.
Oh, it's so good. That's my favorite, like, happy moment.
My favorite happy scene, though, isn't
the
actually
car?
the box. It's
in the car.
The car stuff.
Yeah.
Man, he straight up runs into Whiplash. He smashes him into a wall with
I
his
thought
car.
you were talking about, like, when Natasha was changing.
Oh.
In the backseat. That's
hilarious.
my favorite part.
No,
that's what I thought we were talking
that
about.
is
like,
hilarious. Also, this movie, even though there wasn't like a quote unquote sex scene, I felt like they like
there's a lot of sexual references, but Guardians is more heavy-handed with it than Iron Man 2 is.
You think?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, I guess they go to like a robot like whorehouse in Guardians 2. I just mean like I felt like they really exploited Natasha or like Scarlett Johansson as like this like
as a sex object.
Yeah. But no, Happy Hogan and the Grand Prix in France when they're like he drives. I love that whole scene. Probably apart from the end, my favorite
are you
action
talking about
scene.
the whole Monaco sequence?
Yes.
I love the Elon Musk cameo. That was really cool.
I don't care.
Tesla?
No.
Oh, he's pretty cool.
Also, Sam Rock, funny tidbit, the reporter, the like blonde reporter.
The Vanity Fair reporter.
Yeah, I can't remember what her name in the movie is, but
neither can
she's
Tony.
married to Sam Rockwell in real life. Yeah. And they sit next to each other, and it's kind of funny because he's like trying to hit on her in that scene.
I love how this movie brings back like small side characters like the Vanity Fair actress, the major that was in the all the like the Air Force sequences.
Yeah, it's a small catch.
And Iron Man 1
couldn't bring back Terrence Howard though.
Yeah. I like how they bring back those like little small characters.
Also, you know what would have been interesting? Maybe it's. You know what I just thought for the first time? Like that there's not a reference to like Obadiah Stane's death. Would they not? Would Tony
it's
really
6
not?
months. We're moving on.
But I mean like, yeah, wouldn't
Tony's been busy.
Do we not need maybe it is just like that I'm used to.
Remember he died in an unfortunate
movies.
skiing accident. There's not much to talk about.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah. We're moving on.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if they had done it, it'd be like pandering to the audience.
Yeah. Well, not just pandering. It just wasn't necessary for the story.
Yeah. We are moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that raceway scene. First off, I love the briefcase. The
briefcase suit
nuclear
rules.
codes briefcase suit.
Briefcase
that's
suit is awesome.
Cufflinked to the arm. And
one of my
Happy
favorite Iron
driving the
Man
car.
suit ups in all the MCU. Great suit.
That with Avengers
Special effects look
jumping
awesome.
out of the tower.
I like that a lot too.
I was gonna say I love the mixture of comedy with like the action. And
Tony
like
doesn't really take him seriously.
Yeah.
He doesn't really take him seriously
Whiplash.
at all until like he starts cutting up, and then when Tony gets in the suit, he's completely quiet.
Yeah,
because you realize, oh, this is a threat.
Yeah. Well, he like Whiplash gets him a couple times in the suit, and then he's like, okay, I have to take this seriously. I was gonna say I love Happy like driving the wrong way on the road, and then he straight up just heads into.
I
Whiplash.
I love that moment too.
I'm surprised it doesn't kill him.
And I love like Pepper screaming in the backseat, losing her mind
as the
it's
car
so
is getting
entertaining.
like shredded to pieces.
Yeah. And then she just like angrily chucks the suit finally.
Yeah.
The briefcase at Tony, and then is awesome.
Happy's trying to get her to like take the suit, and the airbag goes off.
Yeah,
in his face.
So great. Iron Man has some of my favorite supporting characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that Happy gets as big a part as he does.
We're big
in,
Happy fans
Homecoming.
Here at Ultimate Fan Podcast.
Yeah. Big John. Good job, John Favreau.
I love John
You're doing
Favreau.
good.
I like him as a director. I like him as an actor. I want him to make a Star Wars movie one day.
Oh,
Like,
that'd be
I think he would
he'd be
kill
great.
it. He'd be so good at it. I would love that. Once he's done with Lion King.
So I'll kind of go on a negative side with that. So like
Before we do that, can we talk a little bit about Natasha? What we think of Black Widow in this movie?
Yeah,
Sweet.
Love it.
Yeah, me too. Like it's a great like start for a character.
It's
you
funny
don't get
because
to see a whole lot like multiple. You don't get to see a lot of dimensions.
No,
but you get her. She's a double agent. She's sexy. She kicks butt. She's awesome. Her action sequence is one of the best parts in the movie. Some really iconic shots in there. She's awesome.
She's in more of the movie than I remember her being in. Mm-hmm. I remember, like, I kind of remembered her getting introduced and then being at the end in the fight scene. I didn't realize, like, how much she's, like, there throughout the whole movie.
I love how, like, the balance between, like, she's experienced and she has skills and she's great at her job, but she still feels very young, which I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm. I just realized, what do you think about that scene? We mentioned this when we were talking. Before he gets drunk at his birthday party, she's there like talking to him, and it's like it's almost like sexual, like
I do whatever
like right
I want
on the edge
with whoever I want.
But I really like that line.
I do too,
because it sounds like she breaks away from like her little acting bit, and she's just Natasha, just saying like, because he's like, if you thought it was going to be like your last birthday or whatever, what would you do?
Yeah, and
she's like, I do whatever I want with whoever I want.
Mm-hmm. Which was like, it could be taken sexually, but it's also sincere.
Yeah. Like, that's actually what she would say.
How do you feel about the whole Tony War Machine fight at the house at the party?
Okay, I was going to get into that. So I want to get into all of Rhodey. That super meta line at the very beginning. Rhodey first comes on the scene. It's obviously Don Cheadle and not Terrence Howard. And Tony comes up to him, and the first thing he says is he was like, what does he say? Oh, I didn't know you were going to be here. Yeah. And then,
well, I'm here now. Deal with it, or something like that.
That's literally Rhodey's response. Is like,
super meta.
Look, I'm here. Deal with it. Like,
yeah, and they like shoot him from behind
on.
as he's walking, and they kind of like do like a little bit of a reveal.
Yeah. Oh, he says, him. "Let's move on."
Yeah,
like which is such a great.
I enjoyed that, but for me, Tony really doesn't. I mean, Rhodey doesn't start working for me. As like Don Cheadle's performance doesn't really cut it for me until like the last 20 minutes.
I'd say,
when he loosens up a bit.
Yeah.
I feel like he tries to do a little bit more like Terrence Howard seriousness, but it comes off as dull and boring.
Yeah, it comes off as too serious and actually a bad. So I was gonna say I like that fight scene. I think it's cool.
Which one?
In the house.
Okay.
War Machine and Iron Man at his birthday party.
It's all right. I don't love it.
It's not incredibly action, but like I just think it's kind of cool to see the two Iron Mans going up, and they're like
feels a little fan servicey to me. I don't quite buy really the need for a Rhodey to get his own like grab the suit and start fighting. To me, like the fight never feels really justified.
Yes,
and it just feels a little fan servicey.
I'll take
this
that.
would be cool. We should do this.
Yeah, but I like it. I like them like throwing each other through pianos.
It bugs me. It like it's cool to watch, but fundamentally it bugs me.
And I'll say it bugs me too. I feel like Rhodey is justified in putting on the suit. Maybe I can see his progression of like anger and being like, I want to like we need to stop this. Like he tells Pepper, but
I don't think fighting.
Yeah, I don't think
the way to solve
and I don't
it.
think that's his. What maybe he thinks like
I think Rhodes is better than that.
yeah, but maybe he looks at Tony and he's like he's a drunk guy in a weapon.
Yeah.
How would you put down a drunk guy? Like I don't know who's in a car.
But when there's a relationship at play, I feel like there's a little bit more leeway.
Yes.
To talk it out and not punch it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels very comic book. It's like,
And
let's have these two
yeah.
characters punch each other until we reach a conclusion
Yeah.
instead of having like a good philosophical reason.
And I think the Rhodey in the first film, not because of the actor, but because of the character, wouldn't have gotten into a fight right there.
Yeah.
He'd have been like, "Hey Tony, let's
You
sit
need to
down."
get your head out
Yeah.
of your butt and like just talk like that.
Is that a good Terrence Howard impression?
No,
Oh,
I'm not even gonna try.
okay. No, but I really don't like. For whatever reason, he gets in the suit. I don't like that he leaves with it. I think that's pretty out of character.
Yeah.
He says sorry at the end when they like are on the same team again, but I think it's so not Rhodey to be like, now I'm just gonna run off. It's so not
With the military.
His best friend. Yeah, I'm gonna run off with the suit and give it to the military now because
Super
you
douchey.
hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Maybe it's supposed to be because it's like the heat of the moment and the fight and they're angry and he like does it irrationally. I don't know, but
Never feels quite justified for me.
yeah. But I
love the ending fight scene.
love that whole thing. It ends too quickly for like
We're talking about the stuff in the garden.
yes.
Yes. I think that's some of the like the best looking suit stuff
Oh yeah.
I've ever seen, and I think the action that does happen there is awesome.
That is on par with me for the beginning of Age of Ultron when Tony's like flying through Sokovia as they're attacking Baron von Strucker, and I love that whole Iron Man bit when he's just ripping through the forest and he's going around the fort just like zooming through stuff and like taking down guys left and right. That's what this kind of feels like for me. It's a cool robot bashing.
I honestly enjoy that more than I'd probably do the opening Sokovia battle.
Oh, I do too. Like I think I did too. I'm just saying I
and
like
the special effects look so good.
Yeah.
Setting it in like a cool like garden, like the final boss battle, and that
Yeah.
is really fun. It's super cool. Like the Whiplash stuff is over with and done with. I don't really care, and it's just boring. But the drone opening battle between Rhodey and Iron Man is awesome.
Yeah.
Love
I would
that.
say like
Some really cool moments and great usage of the suits. It's well choreographed. I'm all about it.
yeah. Oh man, I somehow deleted my comment here. I like it all. I think the choreography is great. I think I like the interplay between it feels like a video game level at that, especially because it like keeps, especially when
But
it
it
cuts
doesn't
back
look
into
like
their,
a cheap cutscene.
No.
Like the special
Not
effects
like
look
that.
great.
I meant like that moment when like there's literally a part where Iron Man like takes down a couple of robots at once with some gadget or something, and he's like, "Did you see that?" And it's like in the camera helmet or in the helmet camera, and then it shoots over to Rhodey, and he's like, "Yeah, good hit." Or it's like when you're playing Call of Duty
Yeah.
with your friend, or like,
Or like Battlefront, just
Yeah.
like the simulations.
yeah. And the same thing with like when Whiplash gets on the scene. Sometimes I get a little taken out of it when we jump into the helmet cam all the
I feel
time.
like the helmet cam didn't look as good
No,
as other movies. I thought
Yeah.
Iron Man 1 looked better and Avengers looks way better. I was like, there's like, towards the end, I was like noticing some of like the in-helmet stuff, and I'm just like, this doesn't look as good as I feel like other movies look in the helmet.
yeah.
Just something I noticed.
I think they built, with all the buildup for Whiplash, they just didn't deliver in that end fight. Like,
Yeah.
it-
Well, I don't
it's
feel like
over
there's
too
that
fast.
much there to begin with because there's not really a whole lot
That's
of personal
true.
connection.
Yeah, and he's just in another Iron Man suit with electric whips.
Yeah. And it's another like, oh, here's the Iron Man suit, but evil, slightly tweaked.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a little bit. It's a little cliche and boring. Also, like Killmonger and Black Panther work because they have that personal connection, but it's so much more real and so much more well explained. This just there has the past connection, but no real meaning to Tony.
Yeah.
So it just kind of there's not much thematically really that compelling at the end battle as well.
Well, that's what I want to talk about with. Is it Ivan?
Ivan
Vanko. So there's a scene after the Grand Prix, they get him arrested or whatever. He's in jail. Also, him breaking out of jail is a cool little. That's a cool little.
I like the way it happens.
But Tony goes and talks with him in his jail cell. I like that scene. I think it's well acted.
Yeah, I love the God bleed line.
Yeah.
If they can see God bleed.
There's blood in the water.
There's blood in the water. Yeah, I love that. That's my favorite part of that. And it really gets to Tony. It's really cool to watch.
Well, I think what gets to him more... So this is one of my favorite lines of the movies. I stopped it and I told Logan as Ivan turns to Tony and he says, like, you come from a family of butchers and thieves. And he says something like, oh, you're like all guilty men. You're trying to rewrite history and pretend like it didn't happen. And he says, you've forgotten the people that the Stark family has like hurt or
like the
wronged.
lives they've destroyed.
Yeah, the lives they destroyed. Meaning like his own. And then we kind of, but the thing is, like, the movie doesn't. I see what you're saying. Like, that's why I say I think he had potential.
Yeah, there's cool moments and there's potential there, but it's never really realized.
But that's, I think, if the movie had focused on that, or like if we developed that, or had, I think what that did was set Tony up not for a great villain or interact, because instead of taking that tidbit of like, oh, our fathers worked on the same project and your dad screwed my dad over and muscled him out and took credit for it. Like, instead of focusing on that, they kind of like, he's like researched him. He's like, oh, that's who this bad guy is. Literally like sideswipe. Now I'm going to like figure out what's going on with my dad. Mm-hmm. I think that's what it set us up for. It was like Tony looking into his relationship with his father.
Yeah. Which I found
way more interesting,
more compelling, way more interesting. And I really enjoyed that much more than I did like the past Ivan Vanko connection. Sweet.
You got anything else?
No, I think that's good for me. I think it's a solid, enjoyable movie that has some issues.
Do you have a favorite moment?
Like I said, the Black Widow action scene, Tony and Howard hanging out, and then the ending battle.
Tony and Howard?
Like when they're Howard Stark when he's watching like the
Howard.
videos.
Yeah.
And then the ending action scene between where like Tony and Rhodey are taking on all the drones. That's all like super fun stuff.
Yeah.
Love it. So are you ready to talk about ranking?
Yeah. Shoot, man.
Where does this film fall for you? Where, and after we like you say that, like where would you now put it having watched it?
Yeah, so I had it initially third from the bottom, only above Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 3.
So you had this below Thor and Thor the Dark World.
Yes.
Ooh.
I remembered it not being... Maybe it's just because my theater... I've only seen this film all the way through once, right?
Before tonight.
Yeah. I've seen pieces of it here and there since then. My brother used to watch it a lot. And maybe it's just because I didn't like Ivan back then. I want my board.
I still don't like him.
No. What else is Mickey Rourke in?
Expendables?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what else.
It's expendable. But I saw Thor the Dark World more recently. And even though that movie has its own problems, like one of the most forgettable villains of all time, I remembered enjoying it. So...
Mm-hmm. So you would keep it at still third from the top? You would still put
third from the bottom.
You still put Thor and Thor the Dark World over this?
No, that's where it was. See, my problem is I think I like this movie better than Iron Man.
Really? I think it is really enjoyable and a lot like it is really fun, but it's not near as good of a movie as Iron Man.
You might be right there.
It's not as good a movie, and it's...
Why do you say that?
Because Iron Man works way better as a movie, like thematically, dramatically, plot-wise, character-wise. Everything's clear, and it's much more compelling than this movie is. It's much more focused. Whereas this movie is like more like crazy fun and more action and stuff, but I don't think it works as well as a movie. I don't think it's as memorable or compelling as Iron Man 1.
Yeah, I don't think I can argue with you there.
But this is about your favorites. This isn't a list of what do you think the best MCU movies are. This is about your favorites.
Yeah, but I like you're so, and I think you're right because this movie hasn't been memorable for me. I watched it once. I got Iron Man as a gift, but I watched it multiple times since then, and I love it every time. I haven't made any effort to try to watch this movie again because it didn't leave that much of an impression on me. But this time, yeah, it is a fun ride. I do enjoy, I enjoyed it. I don't remember very many moments where I didn't enjoy it. Maybe some of the factory scenes with Hammer and Ivan where he's like, these are the robots. What are you doing with this helmet?
There's one too many of those scenes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Split less. Okay, Favreau, you can go back for a director's cut. Just limit Sam Rockwell. Fix Ivan. I'll be happy.
Those dramatic reshoots. Yeah, this movie needs a lot of help if you're going to do that. So, where would you put Iron Man 2 now?
Okay, I think you're probably right, and in the long run, I'm probably with you on Iron Man being above Iron Man 2 as a movie, and it might just be my hype from watching it that makes me want to put it up there. So I'll put it above. Right now, it'll go above Thor and Thor: The Dark World. It'll probably sit just under Avengers: Age of Ultron and so it's only moving up 2 in the ranking for me. So at the bottom, I've got Iron Man 3. Actually, it's still going to stay there. Incredible Hulk gets a pass until we watch Iron Man 3 again. So Iron Man 3, Incredible Hulk, Thor: The Dark World, Thor, Iron Man 2.
So I have Iron Man 2.
That's the bottom up for our listeners.
Yes. Yeah. So I as well, like before this movie, I had Iron Man 2 at spot number 14, with Incredible Hulk being at dead last, then Iron Man 3, then Thor: The Dark World, then Thor, then Iron Man 2. And for me, I love this movie. I had a great time, even despite the issues I have with it. So it continues to stay at the same place at number 14, below Age of Ultron and Spider-Man Homecoming at 12 and 13. So yeah, it's above the bottom rung of Marvel, but it doesn't quite make the mid ranking.
So you didn't put it above Ultron,
no,
or Homecoming,
no. Nope.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that because I know you're not particularly fond of either of those.
Yeah,
but you still don't. So you're not fond of those, but you still think Iron Man 2 doesn't. I think it's a good enough film. It doesn't tango with Homecoming for me, but oh man, Avengers is just such a higher budget movie. There's
lots of cool fan things in there, even though it doesn't work I think it works about the same, if not a little worse than Iron Man 2. But there's so many cool character moments in Age of Ultron that puts it up.
Yeah, there's a greater cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, it'll never beat Age of Ultron.
Nope.
But maybe things maybe after another viewing, things like Doctor Strange or Ant-Man might.
My prediction: Ant-Man's going to go higher, if anything.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I don't know, man.
Ant-Man's great.
I think Ant-Man works best as a standalone film.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll see how the second one works in with a. How do you feel about that little bit in the trailer? I always think he's setting up for a joke.
Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yeah. Paul Rudd, the line he starts the trailer with where he's like, if I had asked you to come with me when Cap called, would you? I always think he's setting up for like he's trying to sound like he's. I think it's going to be a joke. Like he's trying to sound dramatic for a trailer, and then he's going to be like, if I had asked you when Cap called. And then he's going to be something about pizza or I don't know. But Paul then Rudd. He's serious.
Yeah. Sweet. You ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think you got nothing left?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Movie.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. My heart was changed for Iron Man 2. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
My heart stayed in the same place. Full of love, but also qualms.
Yeah. Logan doesn't want any birds.
You can keep the bird.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us this week on Ultimate Fan Podcast. Please subscribe to our channel on Podiant. You can check out our webpage there, or we have a YouTube channel, Ultimate Fan Podcast.
And we're working on getting the podcast on iTunes up soon.
Yeah, hopefully by the end of this week.
Yeah.
So that way you'll be able to find it on...
You may be on iTunes by the time this episode comes out. We'll see.
Yes. We're recording. Yeah, so hopefully by the time you listen to this episode, we should be up on iTunes. And also you can give us a like on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Send us a message, comment on what you think of Iron Man 2. We'd love to talk more about this movie with you.
Yeah, we really want to get some interaction. If you guys disagree with us, if you think it's the best MCU
if you
movie
want
of all
mud
time,
buds, comment and let us know.
If you think
Whiplash is the greatest villain in the MCU, go for it.
And if you also, we need a comment of that. GIF
also, if you want a Justin Hammer
Manny
spinoff movie as well, comment if you want that.
I don't want that. Who do you think, Justin Hammer or Iron Man 3 guy?
Killian?
So
Justin
forgettable.
Hammer.
Yeah.
Killian sucks.
Anyways, or you can send us an email, ultimatefanpodcast@gmail.com. Social media. Once again, subscribe. We'll be getting these out, and we're hoping to get a more regular schedule with our release days. Also, looking at
working out the kinks.
Mondays and Thursdays, most likely. So you can look forward to that. And next time we'll be talking about Thor. Mm-hmm. Thor's our next film. Wow, we're moving fast.
I know. I'm excited. The sooner we get to Avengers, the better.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it. Once again, thanks for joining us. I'm Ian Unger.
And I'm Logan Flaming.
And we'll see you next time.
Boom.